Hi everyone, my name is Brycelyn, and I'm the team lead of FRC Team 4118, running Riptide. And this is video 3 in my series of One Ripple at a Time, where I'll be walking you through how to make your own little ripple accessible button switch. Last time we made a big ripple switch, so it's a bigger button with a larger surface area. This one is a smaller button with a smaller surface area, but it still does the same function. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. I'm gonna put my safety glasses on and ready to do it. So on our workspace here, we have 5 components. We have the 3D printed bottom housing, a 3D printed top housing with a cap that's inside the 3D print. We have our little ripple printed circuit board. We have our tactile switch. And then once again, we'll have the stereo plug. We have the jack with us. So the very first step we're going to do is we're actually going to solder our jack to our printed circuit board. So I'm going to move the rest of these components out of the way. And if you've watched our last 2 videos where we actually made a hanging jack and made a big ripple switch, you'll notice that they all have one thing in common. This outline of the jack right here, it's all the same. So we have 2 little notches on the bottom of our jack and 3 little metal pegs on the jack that line up with these 3 metal pads on the printed circuit board. So I'm going to seed this into place. So all 3 metal pads are going to line up with the printed circuit board. And then we're going to apply solder like last time to each of these 3 pads. So I'm going to get my soldering iron. I'm going to tin the tip of the soldering iron. Clean it off really well. And now I'm going to start soldering. I'm going to bring my soldering iron down. We're going to start with this first pad here. I'm going to let this sit for about 3 seconds, and then I'm going to bring my solder in, touching the tip of the soldering iron and the metal pad at the same time. And once I see that solder kind of disperse and cover that metal pad, I want to stop. So we make sure, oh, I don't know if this is sharing on the screen. There we go. So we make sure that the solder doesn't seep into the jack or burn the printed circuit board. So that looks good. I'm going to turn this around and we're going to do the other side. I'm going to place my soldering iron down on the metal pad and hold it there for about 3 seconds. Then I'm going to come in and pull away. Do the same thing on this side. There we go. So we just soldered our jack on. And now we're going to perform a tug test. So this can still be a little hot. Mine isn't. That's okay. I'm going to perform a tug test. So I'm holding the printed circuit board and I'm holding the jack and I'm going to try and wiggle it apart. And if I can't wiggle it apart, that's a really good sign because that means all the solder joints are strong and it's a firm connection. If it does break or if any of your solder joints snap loose, that means it was a really weak connection and you're going to want to resolder that. So my printed circuit board has the jack on it now. So we're good. Next, we're going to grab our tactile switch, which is this square with the little blue button on top. And we're actually, so this is where having a pair of helping hands is going to really come in handy. I have a pair here that is going to help us hold our printed circuit board. But we're actually going to take this printed circuit board and we're not going to solder the tactile switch on like that. We're actually going to flip this over to where now you see a white outline where the tactile switch is going to go. So same thing as last time, we have these 2 plastic notches on the bottom of the tactile switch and these 4 metal legs. These 2 notches are going to line up with these 2 center holes. And then the 4 legs are going to line up with these 4 metal holes on the white outline. So I'm going to line all the metal pads up, but then I'm going to push in so those metal legs are sticking through the other side. It's okay to hear a snap, that's usually what happens. But now you see if I'm holding it sideways, you see all the metal legs are sticking through to the other side. It's fun if you just want to give it a little click to hear the sounds. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put our printed circuit board into our helping hands to help me hold this. Because if I'm trying to solder like this, you'll notice that it's no longer a flat surface because the tactile switch is in the way. You see how it's wobbling all over the place? I don't want it to be crooked at all if I'm trying to solder. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in our helping hands, just like this. And we're going to apply solder to each of these metal legs, very similar to how we did in the big ripple switch. So I'm going to take my soldering iron, I'm going to go ahead and tin the tip again, making sure that tip stays clean. Okay. Now this one, unlike where we're doing a surface mount solder, such as this jack, I want to look for that Hershey kiss. So I'll do one and then show you what a Hershey kiss is going to look like, because that means that the solder has like a little peak. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's just right. So I'm going to bring my soldering iron down. I'm going to hold it onto that metal circle. And I'm going to bring this in. And pull away. So I'm going to unhook this from the helping hands for 1 second so I can see if I can show you on camera. So I did this, I did the one. There we go. So you see how that has like a very Hershey kiss shape, like a little peak? That's exactly what we want. So if it looks like a big glob, that's not a great solder joint. You want it to look like this Hershey kiss right here. And I'm going to do that for these 3 legs now too. So I'm going to hook this back in to our helping hands. I'm going to bring my soldering iron down, make sure I'm only touching the metal pad. And I'm going to add my solder. Pull away. I'm going to clean my iron after each step in this one. I'm going to turn this. Okay. Have my soldering iron touching that metal pad. There we go. Then we have one more. I'm going to straighten out my solder a little bit. Okay, last one. There we go. So now I have all 4 legs on my printed circuit board soldered, and we're not going to trim any of these legs. So it's the same thing with the big ripple switch. We don't have to trim any of these legs sticking out because the 3D print accounts for that. So it's okay. We're going to perform another tug test. So I'm going to grab the printed circuit board with one hand and the tactile switch with another and try and move that out. If it's not wiggling at all, that's a great sign. So that's it for the soldering portion. Now we have our tactile switch on one side and our jack on the other. So this is where the 3D printed housings are going to come in. We're going to start with our top housing. So the top housing is going to have this kind of loose part in here. This is actually staying within the 3D print. So if a child is using this switch, this piece is not held on by glue or anything. It's simply embedded within the 3D print so it doesn't fall out and risk any choking hazard. So this square, this is going to rotate a bit. This square hole right here is actually going to fit our blue part of our tactile switch. And so you see, if I'm not pushing anything in yet, you see how everything is just really aligned? I want to make sure that this square is aligned with this square hole, and then I'm going to push in. You're going to hear kind of a pop, and then you see, if I just hold it like this and let everything rest, it aligns perfectly. So then I'm going to take my bottom piece, and these 2 little tabs on the outside of my bottom piece is going to align. I don't know if you can see them. There's a hole on this side and a hole on this side. It's going to fit in just like this. So when I push down, it's making like a snap fit joint. This little tab here is going to end up in this hole. So I'm just going to push down. And everything should snap into place. So you see I have the tab on this side and a tab on this side. And if I press this right here, I don't know if you can hear the little clicks, but it should be making a little click. Now this is the switch with a smaller surface area. So this is where you're going to be pressing for your switch. And we have the jack poking through this hole here so you can plug a cord into here. And that's it. You have just made your little ripple accessible button switch. Those are the two switches we're going to be teaching you how to do in this series. We have the big ripple and now you have the little ripple. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you had a good time making your little ripple switch. And that's all from me. So until next time, we'll be adapting a toy. Thank you so much, and continue to swim parallel.